Welcome to Oxygen Not Included. My name is Nilaus. This is a tutorial series, and well, it's not a tutorial series yet, but this is a tutorial on some of the things that I'm building in my Oxygen Not Included Let's Play. So we're going to build today a self-sufficient, at least to a very large extent self-sufficient and self-cooling metal refinery. So I'm unlike what a lot of other people who are doing tutorials in Oxygen Not Included, I am going to do mine with building it instead of doing it in creative mode, and I'm going to do that because I think there's a lot of kinks and quirks that need to be covered, that so you can skip over, like how do you fill rooms and how do you make vacuums, those kind of things. So I want to show how that's done in a real base. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to need 3 levels high. 1, 2, 3. What do I have 4? I probably just left a bit of extra room. So I have 3 levels high, and I'm going to start by making a refinery. We're going to do a lot of building here, so we're going to build a refinery, and I'm going to try to build it at the right place. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that might be correct. Let's try putting it down there. So let's start by looking a bit at the refinery, because this is the whole reason why we have so much issue. It produces a lot of heat, it takes a lot of power. But worst part of it is actually the fact that, funny how it says overheat temperature 75. The worst part of this one is the fact that it takes 400 kilos of some liquid in, and then it heats it up by a lot, depending on what kind of material you're refining. And that actually is going to cause the majority of our issues. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the middle refinery here. This is accessible to tubes. Then we're going to have a steam room here. And then we're going to have a steam turbine up here. The steam turbines will be deleting the heat. So we're going to start by making a lot of insulated tiles everywhere, because we're going to need it. There. And then we are going to build a few of the things that we want. Everything revolves around is the Aqua Tuner. It's very important you build the Aqua Tuner out of steel. Must build it out of steel. Otherwise the whole thing becomes... Let's just check. 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks right, this one. What I'm going to do is I will build it. I'll build the things that I need to put into closed rooms, because I need to close off the rooms. And then I'll build the other parts of it. Once I build the other parts, then we'll go through the construction, the electrical, the piping, and the automation, because there's going to be a lot of all of these things to make it all flow and work. Let's get some more things in here. This one will make sure that we have a cooling, but first, we're going to get some steam turbines. These don't need to be made out of steel. You can make it out of... Oh, actually I don't have any gold. We'll just make them out of iron. That should be fine. There and there. I'll make 2 of these. The reason why you need 2 is because this one will produce too much heat for one steam turbine to consume if you're only building... if you're making steel, for example. So I'm going to close this off, even though it's going to make them run a bit longer. And I'm going to go here and here. And I'm going to build... And actually this doesn't need to be... I'm going to make a water lock. If you don't know what a water lock is, then it is basically a way to prevent water from leaking in. And let's see, I can... Actually, I'll take that one out and I'll delete this one. Hold on. I have to be very careful, because I'm actually having... Because of the base, I have some things behind that I don't want to delete. So, these ones will be done. And what else do we need to build? These two. These two will have some outputs. We can go start with that. They will have some liquid outputs here, which will just go down. And that's kind of weird, isn't it? And I'm going to go to bridge, rotate it. There. That'll make sense later on. So what happens, the way the steam turbine works is it takes steam in from the bottom, and then it outputs water at 95 degrees. So that water, I just need to grab it and put it back in here so it can be turned back into steam. That's one of the key parts. We'll have 3 different water loops in the space here, and our liquid loops, and those are really important to keep track of. But I can't really explain them before we build them. So let's start by building some of these. We're gonna have a cooling loop here. It's gonna go up here, and I'm gonna go from this side. I'm gonna go up there. These are insulated tiles. I have insulated pipes because I don't want this to transmit some heat. I'll have a loop where the very, very hot petroleum that I'm going to use is going in here and heating up the water in here that will become steam. Let's make absolutely sure we do this one. Make some water. It's very important we get water in here, and we're going to enable auto bottling, and then 2 of those. Yep. So we need to fill this up. And actually, just as I remember this, I can't be building that one yet because we need to be able to empty. We need to empty these locations. And in order to do that, we have to... Actually, I could build those here. Huh. Boom. So these pumps here, they are going to be important from only for a temporary perspective. All they need to do is just empty whatever we have here. Here. They will simply make a vacuum in here once we have some water coming in. Come on. Higher priority. There. So. I'd also really like to get these. They can all be crafted. Power-wise, well, we're gonna get some power inbound at some point, and that's gonna be... It's gonna be a bit of a hassle to get the power in because it has to run in a specific way. Let's try to establish that way right now, because that one will need some power and this one will need some power, and then it goes out. So I can just get that one as well, and I'll just take this one here. This one needs some power right now. I have made this one is our accessible power, and kind of silly that we have built this one just yet. All right, we're getting some water. We're finally getting some water in here. And what we need in here is a lot more things. We are going to continue this loop. So now we need radiant pipes. You can make them out of lead. Probably not a great idea to make them out of lead because lead can actually overheat. So maybe something like iron would be fine. And this one will go... Just go cover this area. And then I need to make these cover like that. And now they still do that. That's really weird, isn't it? There. So that will mean that I get some very, very hot petroleum out, and then it's insulated, and up here it's then radiant pipe so it can interact with the heat on the other side as fast as possible. And we are going to get one more loop. That's going to be the biggest loop and the most complicated one. So let's start working on this. This will be this Aqua Tuner. Let's explain how the Aqua Tuner works. The Aqua Tuner is cooling the material that passes through it in pipes by 14 degrees. And in order to do that, it takes the same amount of heat and exerts it into the surroundings. So this is in a hot room. That's why I'm making it out of steel. And that means it can lower the temperature of water in pipes from, let's say, from 30 to 16 degrees. And then the heat that it takes out will be dissipated here, which will help make more steam. So that's kind of how it works. And then I need a loop there. And then I need insulated pipes because I don't want to transmit the heat when I'm in here. Does that make sense? Yeah, it doesn't. I hope it makes sense. This loop here, if I have this one, then I can force it to always go around. Otherwise, it'll stop when this one stops, and I don't want that. So this is kind of a bypass. It will go... First, I'm going to use it to cool this one down here. Let's see if I can... So here, I'll cool my refinery. It actually needs a bit of cooling. I don't know how this works. I think this one Insulated, insulated. Yes, that works. Then we're going to take another bridge so we can jump over here, because we're going to have some things out here that I also need to fuel. Why are we not getting any water? It's really kind of important that we get the water, you know. We'll skip ahead if we don't really feel we get the water fast enough in. What are we making this out of? Radiant. Let's... Did I make the insulated pipe? This is okay to make it out of lead because it's not a hot area. But up here, it's actually fine to make it out of lead. This will never be so hot. It's gonna go out here. And it's gonna be 1, 2, 3 up here, going back in. And this one will now be about 100 degrees. So again, it's okay. And it'll go down here. And then from here, I will now need to switch to the insulated pipes, because I don't want this one. There and in here. And then it also does a bypass so that if this one shuts off, then it can continue. And I'm going to need to measure the temperature here. This temperature will tell us if this one needs to be active or not. There. And I'm going to take insulated pipes. I hope that one is radiant pipes. Alright, let's look at the piping here. We have a bit of water, but not enough water. So we have now built the water loops. I have not thoroughly explained it. It's a lot easier to explain once they are up and running. What we need to do is make some, empty this gas out of here. Really odd that I'm not getting this conductive wire lead. So let's prioritize this here. And in the meantime, I can start on the automation overlay, because I'm going to have some automation overlay here. Again, wires, let's make it out of iron. This will monitor the heat of the cooling loop here, or the temperature of the cooling loop. And I'm going to set it to, if it's more than 30 degrees, stop cooling. If it's more than 30 degrees, start cooling. So it cools it down to 16 and then it goes another loop. If it's not, then it just continues. However, I'm also going to read this signal out. I'm going to read it out to another location. And that will be here. At this point, I just drag it to this location. That should be fine. I'm going to use it on a NOT gate. And I might as well build that in here. What am I building it out of? I'm building it out of lead. That's a mistake. This one is iron. Iron is good. Lead is not great. NOT gate basically takes a true and turns it into a false. Those are the ones that I have to build in here. The stuff I need to build in here is super important. Also, I built one more extra one that I don't, hopefully it's not needed, but I think it's a good practice to do. And that's basically, I want to make sure, am I still not? That one is thermosensor, you're made out of lead. I'll cancel that one. Otherwise we'll detect thermosensor out of iron. I'm kind of feeling I'm running out of iron here. More iron. Rotate or rotate. That one. Iron wire there and here. So basically just if this gets more than 300 degrees, I have to shut this one down. Maybe even less. Here we go. We have, this one is it's kind of a liquid loop. Not quite, but it is kind of a liquid loop. And what we're doing now is trying desperately to empty this one. I'm also really needing this. Yeah, somehow they don't want anyone to come in here with water. Super important that we get the water though. And they're really eager to build all the other stuff except this. So this one will be set to above 30 degrees. That's the not the temperature outside in this room, but it's the temperature in the pipe. Currently, it doesn't register any temperature. And this one is going to say if it's going to send a green signal if it's below 280. It should always be, but you never really know. There we go. That one's good. Sealed off. I don't understand why this one is not building. Conductor wire. Get higher priority. Errands. Come on. Doing supply errands. And we still need to... Yes. Here, we're just slowly emptying this one for air. This one I'd really like to empty. And at this point, maybe we'll just let all of these buildings complete. And then we can... Oh, there's a build command. Alright, so let's just fast forward until all of this has been created. And then we can pick up again when we start needing to build the next thing. Okay, we're back. So what we have here is now we don't have any liquids in here, no, any gases in here. So we've created the vacuum. We have prepared it so that we can get some hydrogen in here. But before we do that, let's make sure that we've also put this water bottler in here so that we can fill up this area. I have about 133 kilos. That's definitely enough. And let me... absolutely sure I deconstruct the water bottler and make sure that we... Oh, there we go. That's an automation wire. And I'm going to build out of iron. There. Good. So what we're going to do now is we are going to take out this because we don't need to vacuum any more out. And if I start putting hydrogen and this one's still active, then bad stuff happens. I'm going to take this part out over this side. All of this can be taken out. All this can be taken out. And our vents can be taken out. There. And we will now hook this one up. That hooks up automatically. And now we can start putting hydrogen in here. Hydrogen gas. The reason why we put hydrogen gas in is because it's a good conductor. It's not really necessary. I just wanted to show you how to do that. I'm going to make sure that we clean up the stuff in here. Also, one more important thing about this area is that we need temp shift plates. Temp shift plates of diamond. You should have diamond because you have oil. Otherwise, you can't do this anyway. Temp shift plates are used to transmit heat more evenly in a base. So each temp shift plate takes the heat and then distributes it between all these 9 tiles around it. And that makes it easier to make sure that we get the heat transferred faster around here. In the beginning, because we have a vacuum in here, we are only going to transmit the heat between this radiant pipes and the water here, and these 3 radiant pipe and the water here. That is just the way it is. Could probably have been bringing it up here and then getting a single one more out, but this looks nicer, I guess. All of this is okay with this one. If I clean out that, if I clean out this, then I can start close it down. I can also close this one down. Yep, so when we have those empty, then we can close the... No, we can't close it because I have to make sure that one's also done. So what we can do is start filling these. Hi, this loop has to be filled with petroleum. Oh, that one's not done yet. And the inner loop has to be filled with polluted water. So I'm going to start with the easy one. And we're just in a autosave mode. That one. Here. Then I'm going to get... Yeah. So it's really important that when you add to a network, add to a liquid network or a gas network, you always use a bridge in there, because that means it has lower priority. This one will continue and it'll only put in when there's room for it. Otherwise you will get it into position when it's just completely jammed and you can't really get anything out. How much we got here? 1400 and 1400. This is definitely enough. So let's deconstruct that one, and the insulated gas pipe also deconstruct. Get those deconstructed. We've done everything we need to do in here, so this one can be closed off. I think we're just gonna check. Power line is good. Liquid lines seemingly good, and automation is connected. I need to make sure that this one there, yeah, that's okay. That's kind of silly temperature. There we go, 300. I don't want it to start cooling this, so we are now feeding petroleum in. This is fed, has completely filled it up. This one will fill up this loop, and you can see that it will continuously flow once it goes around. There. And I can now take this one out. There's nothing in a bridge. That's really nice, so you don't get a splash of water when you do this. And I can now close this one off, and I can pick this up. It's not super important, but man, am I going to be annoyed by looking at some stuff inside of a closed room that I can't get to. These two, pick up, yes, and granite, copper, again, yes, and we can now close this one off. Close it. Ah, and now comes this part. Now we can open up here, because this is where we're going to make our electricity parts. Because the not yet for this one. We need to make sure that this gets done. I'll just let the water fall down. Don't care. And there. Now we can remove all of these. I know there's a feature to toggle so you only delete walls, but I don't like that. Well, I do like it, but I'm gonna mess it up if I use it. Right, so I sure as hell hope this is working. What you can see is this loop continuously flows around, and it flows around because there's this bridge that indicates a direction. Otherwise it wouldn't go. Okay, I am going to speed this up. Now comes the big and more complicated. So what you're seeing is this one here is, look at the power network. This can produce more power than this one. Not just by looking at the numbers, but I know this because this one is not going to run very often. It's going to very rarely. So what I need to do is, or what I want to do, is to control the power so that it goes out here. And I'm going to take this one out. I'm actually going to take, come on, take all of this out. So this one will be controlling some circuits and basically saying, if this is full, then send any surplus out of the network. And that's pretty good. Yeah, obviously this one loses power because now there's no power connected. That's okay. The power it will get it from... this one is... the transformer here is simply there to make sure that power only flows from this network and out. And it can't flow back again. So this is making sure that it does that. However, there's one thing. Each of these can consume 1000 watt. This consume 1200 watt. That's actually too much. That means this could potentially draw 2200 watt, and this one can only handle 200 watt. So there's a chance that if I just hook it up like this, it will break. In order to prevent that, we're going to make let me just build what I actually want this one to do. There. So this one just goes, for now, it just goes into another network where it can be doing good. And in order to control it, I'm going to control it with a shut-off. That's the one we're going to control with circuit networks. The shut-off can't be built like this, then it doesn't shut off, but so it has to be built like so it can clasp down on this. It basically turns on and off this connection. And then what we're going to do now is saying, when this value here is pretty much at the maximum, see, this one will send a red signal. Come on, red signal when it's 100% charged. I actually wanted to send a green signal when it's 100% charged. So how would I do that? I would basically say, when it's more than 90%, it sends a red signal. Well, I'm just going to make the red signal into a green signal with a NOT gate. I'm going to put that here. And then we're going to go. So what I have now is, when this one is full, it sends a red signal, which turns into a green signal. So that says, when it's full, start offloading power onwards. And I then need to make sure that if this one is on, then it sends a NOT signal so that it sends an off signal. And it gets a bit complicated, but I think it makes sense once we can see it. It has to be like this. And here. That's an AND gate. So now it says, this shut off will turn on. That means allow power to flow out from this network only under the condition that this is highly charged and this one is not running. If this is not high charged, it'll shut off. If this one is running, it'll shut off. And that should work. We hope. On top of that, we're going to then take all the stuff that comes out, put it into some batteries. That makes it happy. Happy batteries here. There. Come on. And we can now do this part. And I will then take another shot off here. So if this one fills up, then, or basically, I want this one to generate power. This will put the power in here. If there's any power in here, just shut it off. Because I'd rather power the metal refinery from my heat than I'd power it from the network. And the way I'm going to do that is just dragging it from here. No point in using anything but lead for this. Lead is cheaper. There. And I'll set a condition for this one as well. Okay. And we also need something here to feed this. This is just going to be a simple thing. Let's build a power, one of these. And I will also just build some automation here. Not automation, but some inserter. Rotate, rotate. There. This one will get all the stuff that I need, such as it'll get some metal ore, we can get iron ore, please, and we get some, I wish there was a way to sort this consumable. We're going to need refined carbon, and we're going to need lime. Those things are needed for steel, refined carbon, lime, and then also raw iron, not raw, but manufactured refined metals. There. I'll need iron and then steel that somehow is not that's a manufactured product. Steel. Yep. And that's going to be higher priority. So they will be put in here. The reason for me to do this is basically so that it's easy for when I start a process here, it will automatically feed this one. This one, I'll just bark it up to Mark 7 so it will grab from this one. Okay, so what we do here is I will remove all of this. I'll remove all the junk. We are going to look... Why is this one not being built? We're missing lead. Let's give some priority on this. Come on. Except not this one. This should only be 6. And this is okay that the whole network, the whole of this network isn't working because it'll only fire on when we get it up and running with enough heat. So we're gonna get some builds. Yep, the sweeper is working. Funny how this one just isn't working. I mean, I got some lead, but I don't have enough lead. So let's get some more lead in here. Is anyone coming? Yep, that's the lead. 5 kilos. More lead, more lead, more lead. It's for the... And yeah, that's the wire. That's a lot of lead being transported here. The smart battery. 187. I think it needs 200 kilos, right? It's refined. It's a lot of small grams of this. Why do we deliver such small grams? Smart battery. 200. We not just need a construction? Yeah, we just need a constructor. And it's done. This one, however, will... See, now this one is filling up from the network. It should not do that. I'll do 30. And I do 10. So it will only fill up... When it fills up to 30 here... It'll, from the network, only fill up to 30. And then the rest, the last 70% will be filled up from up here, if possible. And if it then drops below 10... then it's going to fire it up to 30 again. Cool. So what I'm needing to do is everything has been cleaned up. Everything looks good. I'm going to close this off because I don't need that anymore. Because now no one needs to go in here anymore. There's a loop, there's power, there's automation, and there's some oxygen in here. Oxygen is fine, and they will be cooled down by this loop going through when it starts working. And once all of that is done, we are ready to fire it up and see how it works. And then we can explain sort of the intricacies of where it is. Now at this point, everything is in an idle state, and all I need to do is start making steel forever. Waiting for materials. Materials will be put in automatically. It is a high priority 7. So we should see that a dupe, hopefully, comes in. There's some refined carbon. And lime gets put in. Is it waiting? Now it's just waiting for the work errand. And here we go. Nipe, welcome. Do the work. What we're seeing now is we will see first in here. No, that's Nipe. It's the machinery. We'll get a lot of warm petroleum, and it comes out at 166 degrees. Now goes into this area, and when it comes out at 100 degrees. So it has actually transmitted 60 degrees already into the water by just this loop. We're going to need to run this by many loops because the water now is 51 degrees, 52 degrees, and it's going to go further up. So I'm going to just leave it here for a bit until we get close to the 100 degrees, and then we can see what's going to happen. And I will do here. This is a good overview as well. 56 degrees. All right, let's leave it here for a bit and then see what come back when it's close to 100. And here we are. We are now very close to 100 degrees, and you can see that the steam is starting to get in here. The steam overlay. We're starting to get some steam, 97.6 degrees. And when that happens, the heat transfer will be much better because now you can heat transfer in the air instead of only through the water. And now we no longer, why did I leave some igneous rock? No, redo the whole thing. Why did I not take that out? Oh, that's going to haunt me forever and ever and ever. Oh, well. And this one's now increasing, and boom, we got power. Power is switching on. Everything suddenly starts working in all at once. So let's try and figure out what happens. When these are working, you can see this goes up. When it goes up, this line turns white, and now it starts filling up these batteries. These batteries are full. Now it shuts off here because it's below 90%. So now it's being consumed because this one ran a bit, and it goes up. Let's monitor it. As these are pumping, it goes up, and then it starts putting more into these batteries. When these batteries are being filled, this one shuts off. So right now it's running by itself. Nothing is coming in. No power is coming in from the side, and these batteries are totally working. They are pretty much full. This one's working. We're not drawing any power from network. This is turned purple. So you can see here there's 0 draw because it's disconnected. And it's now using this battery. Even this 1200 watt is consuming from this battery. And it might just go down. That's perfectly fine. Or nighttime, or the product got completed. And we will actually, over time, unless we have this running like 100%, but as soon as there's some breaks in between, this one gets to fill up. I'd actually like this to be better at filling up myself, so I don't have to go ahead. So this is the work errand. Yep, let's have a look. Come on, go back to the power overlay. This one is pretty much full. This one will not go. So what we're seeing now is that it's actually working. Let's look at the cooling loop. So here, this cooling loop is not ready yet. I'm going to set this at 30 degrees. I went above. Now it's going to start consuming here. And you will see here, the stuff that comes out is 33 degrees. The stuff that goes in is, this one is measuring 47 degrees. And the stuff that comes out, if you look at the tooltip, it's 34 degrees. So it takes out 14 degrees on what goes out. And that's going to keep running for a very long time. It's actually going to run out. That's, yep, that's not a problem. Because on average it will not run out, but sometimes, especially because I forgot to start it early, then it will consume more of the power here than it's needed. And you can see it goes consistently down to 35 degrees. Then at some point we'll start seeing things go below 30 degrees. The reason why it shuts down power is because it's simply nothing will be sent into this network, because when this one running, it's consuming. Actually, it isn't really consuming right now. And let's see how this one is. Look at that. It's now down to 26 degrees. 16, 18 degrees. So we've now achieved sort of the more of an equilibrium temperature. You can set it to whatever you like, temperature-wise. I just like to set it at 30 degrees because then it cools down to 16 degrees, and that means the stuff that comes out here will be pretty cold, generally. You can see, and it goes a loop around here, and it also helps cooling this part. Let's look at the temperature-wise. This one, it's keeping it somewhat okay. This is obviously very hot, but it's supposed to be. That's steam. We got 150 degrees steam. That's very nice. This one is here, kept at a very, very controlled temperature, 37 degrees. And over here, these ones, they will produce some heat, but they will be balanced out by the cooling loop here. This cooling loop will take care of cooling this down and preventing it from overheating. And the circuit network, you can see this one just flippity flop back and forth. Now when it's green here, it puts power from this network into these batteries. And as long as this one is red, that means it's actually self-contained. As long as this is red, it's completely self-contained and powered by itself. And that will actually be the case most of the time. But it is built in the way that if for whatever reason it's not self-contained, then it is possible to draw power from the network. And that's what this one controls. There you have it. It's a pretty advanced refinery, and I'm sure that you can make it even more advanced, make it even more. But this one in a normal build, I would say, oh, let's also build some more iron here. Build more iron. There we go. So that one also can go. And let's just wait for it to come back. This one is just there to make sure that it never overheats. It shouldn't be, but I don't think it's a bad idea to just make sure that it doesn't overheat. And power network, this one's running a lot. Well, not a lot actually. It's just running casually, and this is stable. I've run this for quite a while, and it just works. It just works. It's that simple. So this is self-contained for making steel, and yeah, I hope that you like it. There's I don't know how to do blueprints in this game, so I can't really just share some blueprints with you, but it's pretty neat, I think, and it does everything that I wanted to do. So hope you're enjoying it. You can take some screenshots of the various overlays, the construction overlay here, the power overlay, the fluid overlay, and the automation overlay. And the values I've set here. This one is set to 30 degrees. It's not super important what it is. I just feel that's a good temperature to also cool out here to normal temperatures. This thermal sensor is simply set to prevent overheat. This one overheats at 325. This value is set to 90, so it only sends power out of the closed loop here when the battery is more than 90%. And the last one, this one, is shutting off power from here if it has more than 30% in the batteries. Or more correctly, it only enables this connection when it has less than 10% batteries remaining. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you like this little well, it's not actually little, but it's pretty advanced build. So this tutorial on oxygen not included, I hope you appreciate it. I hope you want to see more of this kind of thing, even though sort of oxygen not included is not in fashion right now, but it will be soon enough with a new expansion and stuff coming out soon. So thank you very much. Hope you enjoy it. Hit the like button, hit the comment section, you know the drill, and subscribe to the channel for more. Let me know if you like this and you want more of this stuff. See you guys next time. Take care and stay effective.